everyone. Our project today is going to be drawing the human face, and we have a picture here that we'll be working with that is going to be of a young girl. And this project is meant for basic drawing level 2 that targets ages 7 and 8-year-old students. Our media is going to be, we'll draw with a pencil, but we'd like to do the face with all pastels. And then we will do the drape around her head in watercolor wash. So that is the plan right now, but first off, as always, we will draw. And so for drawing, I'm going to draw with a black regular pencil. However, I would like to then take off the line. So as we go through the process, I will make sure that you are kept aware of what my next step is, and we'll keep moving forward. So here we go. Just want to make sure my paper is straight for the camera, and let's start. Easy way to approach a drawing. It's a partial view, so that means I would start from the left eyebrow. Gonna bring in the eyebrow, followed by going to take in her nose, just like this. The eye is situated in the nook of the eyebrow right here, so we get the tear duct and we get the top curve and all. Make sure that the eye curve doesn't go past the eyebrow line. It has to stay on the inside of it. Go back to the tear duct, turn it around like a letter U, drop the line going downward, and then pick it up to meet to the corner. So that makes first eye. Same line across from here, right about this point. The rule in drawing faces is that the space between these two eyes should be the size of one of these eyes. So if we were to put it to the test, we are okay with that. So we want to have our tear duct right here. So go ahead and put in a tear duct. So don't draw an eye straight off with just a, here it's a curved line, let's just draw it. I like to break the eye down into different components so that I can get it right. So I noticed there's a straighter line to the inside and a curve and a longer one to the outside. From the back to the front tear duct, again, is a normal line, whereas in the other eye, we had to do it a bit differently. Her eyebrow, notice the gap. So the gap is right here, and I start from the inside of her eye, and I'll take the curve over, just like this. And there we are. So we've drawn in her eyebrow. When you draw the iris, that's the colored part of your eye, you want to pay attention to how much white you see, not the iris itself. So based on how much white I see, my iris is here for the left eye, and for the right eye, it's going to be from here, like this. Coming back to her nose, we've already made the tip of it. Let's plug in her nostril, which is curved, and the skin that surrounds the nostril. There you go. Right under the nose, everybody has this. It's like a little dimple, and if you feel it yourself on your face, you should be able to understand what I'm talking about. So there is a dimple in the lip as well that everybody has. So if you can put your fingers to the top of your lip, you'll feel it right away. Her left side should be shorter, and her right side of the lip should move out longer because it's a partial view. After I draw these two, I'm going to just draw the middle line. So I noticed that there's her lower lip is pushing upward a little bit more, and then I see her left side of her lip disappearing. Same way in the right side as well, it disappears just like this. The bottom of her lip right here comes in there. So study if you're drawing a particular person, you really want to study the face. Take some time to kind of understand the distances. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start connecting up the side of her face, which is on the left side. So from the corner of her eye, it goes out to meet her eyebrow right here. from next to the mouth, I only see this much more of her face. So from the eye, this is where your cheekbone would be, and it would come and stop right there. I see her chin coming down here, but her drape is covering it, so right there. So we have an approximate face. Now, her hair parting is directly above her nose, and it falls right about there. So again, so all you're trying to do as you're completing her face and all the details is understanding exactly what your eyes are seeing. On the right side, her hair has a wave, and the lowest point of the wave is right above her iris over here. So I'm going to mark that dot, come over, make a wave, and then come in. Something of this nature. Next, her parting is going diagonally backward, just like this. And we see some of her hair. I'm keeping it light because I still haven't understood so I wanted to create like loops. She's got quite a beautiful curl. So let's see this. And we're going to take off this line and this line. So this is the way her hair is curling next to her cheek. And she has yet another just a few wisps of hair. So you can add a line right there. Make it look more natural, the connection from the head to the hair. And that should be enough for right now. Now, the cloth that wraps her head, it's close to her eye right about here. And it goes up straighter to the top, whereby it bends, flattens out, comes out close to her mouth area before it turns inward. So you have the inside bend right there. Get rid of this. From her chin, there is a cloth that's kind of going over, and it comes to meet this line. So I can get rid of these two lines right here. Next, the cloth goes backward. From here we get another fold in her fabric. Like this. And right about here, we can't see the back of her head from that point, but there is no drape on this side of the paper. It's only on the top. So at this point, what I would do is I would add the back of her head area. This would connect in here. Right there. So we have the lift on the front right over here. And what you have over here is the inside of her drape. And that's the entirety of her fabric. Eyes, nose, hair, everything done. This is the person that we plan to draw in color. Now, the thing about all pastels is, even if I draw it with the 2B pencil, when I start working my all pastels over it, it's going to start picking up the carbon from my pencil. So I need to erase this, make it a little bit lighter. Hence, I'm going to just make it a little bit lighter. Not too light. I'm going to erase off as much as I need to. Not on the fabric that goes around her face. That I'll leave where it is. but you can see how much I've erased it off. So next I'm going to pick up some skin tones. So for the most part, I see some peachiness, and I'll need some white as well. The first thing that you do with a human face is the light source is from this side, hence I'm going to apply my whites. And I don't know if you can see it on the video, but this is the white to my face. And I'll add a little bit here, not as much as the other parts. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of the tan color that we want to see in her face. So I'm going to lay the color down. I'm not going to blend it with my finger at all. Some people like the finger blend, some people don't. It's a personal thing. You can definitely opt to putting it in if you feel like it. So bear with me. I know it looks like everything's going everywhere. Just hold on for a minute. If you have finished your drawing with me, just watch. Don't try and do this with me. I need you to know what to do next before you pick up anything. Then I want to go back with my white again, and I'm going to rub it on top. And what you will see is all the colors become really, really smooth. So the trick here is that when you apply two colors, the ones that you feel are needed for a certain color tone to appear in your all pastels, and then you go back and rub it one more time with one of those two colors, you will get a beautiful blend, just like this. And I would want to put the lip thing over all the colors. So I get a lot of small pieces. I'm going to use my finger now, and I'm going to bring in some of the skin hues into her lips. I think that would look good. Nothing wrong in doing that. You don't want, because you are working on, put it back into the center, because we are working on the fabric that's encasing her face with watercolors, we cannot put these or let these colors bleed into the area around it at all. I plan to bring in some colored pencils also, just so as I can work on the eyes with a little bit more finesse. That is important for me, so as I can get it done. Next, I don't need to put in ... This is a peach color, a little bit here and a little bit here, just like this. And I want to put in a little bit of the brown tannish kind of a color. Now I'm going to just put my finger to it and use my blend with my finger so that I can really get in there. Remember, try to avoid getting into your the fabric around her face. Let's say you do get into the fabric and now you've got some all pastels. Well, it's not to the end of the world. What you can then do is think about using your all pastels in her fabric around her face versus watercolors. That's all it is. So we've got this part of it done. Next, I like to get a very natural looking skin tone where possible. So here we go. Notice that I also put the color into the make sure my paper is straight and that it did not get distorted at all. Good. I let the skin tone go to the lips. I let it go to the eyebrows and everything because I need it to go in there. Notice that on the corners here, I feel like I haven't got enough. So I can go back in and I can touch her skin just a little bit with this. Go back in with the white. and give it a blend up. But only go to the next step when you are absolutely comfortable that you like your face of the girl as much as you do. So now, colored pencils coming in now. The reason for the colored pencil is because all pastels are very, very thick on the tip of them. It's really hard if you wanted to be able to do a little bit more finite work to be able to get that finite going. Notice that I've got a little bit of the all pastels picking up on my pencil tip. Make sure you clean up, clean up, clean up all the time. Don't be in a rush. Only black to the upper lid, not the lower. And a little bit from the outer edge, but not the inner. You can use a skin tone to add in a second eyebrow, just like that. And you can use, again, clean up the tip. Don't be in a rush. Okay, and then what you want is you want a white spot right here. Make sure you get that done. Then the pupil, and you can go in more strongly on the pupil. Just like that. And next you want to do a little bit of your green. You put down your first color, don't be afraid. The bottom of the eye should be brighter. The top would be a little bit more. So you want to maybe put in a tiny bit of your put in a bit of yellow, then go back over it with your green. It will give you a nice rich look. Now you want to give her an outline. And you want to add in a little bit more to the corner here. Light as a feather, start bringing in a little bit of shade value to the eye. Reduce that pressure, almost as if you had to put your finger in your eye and touch your eye, you know how gentle you need to be. Well, that's the pressure you want. I change my pencils a lot just to make sure that I am capturing the skin tone as I see it. And now I'm going to go ahead and put in this color to her lips. I see white bright spot here, so I'm going to leave that bright for sure. Clean my pencil tip. I'm going in with a natural color to her lips first. I'm not trying to do something different. the natural color first to the face, sorry. And then what you need is you need the pink. Let's see if we have the pink at our disposal. I think we do. Again, bringing in a red and make sure that the red is to the lightest feathered value that you can get it to be. You put the red down, and even if it seems a little too stark, don't worry, just keep going. Now go back to your original pink color and blend in with that. So you get this really good effect on the colors and everything. Color on top of color helps you to get to what you needed to do. A very sharp tipped pencil for the middle line. You don't want to make a thick line here at all. That's all you need, something really, really thin and skinny that just kind of goes in and covers up. Now, our next job is going to be the watercolors that we talked about. I know that the hair doesn't have color in it, but we'll attack that also with our watercolors. So, starting with one tone at a time, and you can play around with this. So the way that I would ask you to think of these things is you would start by one section at a time. So notice that when we drew her, we created a lot of different sections. I'll do the hair at the very, very end. But let's start. So I'm going to put a little purple alongside the red that I see for her hair. So for the color. So I go and concentrate it. And I just have to bring in a little bit more water to kind of just wrap up the face a tiny bit. I'm coloring it purple, yes, but then I want to also color it. Bring in some red hues with it. It'll look really good in contrast to her mouth. So here we go, here comes my red. I wanted it to mix with the purple. So I don't mind doing that. I don't mind going in with one color and then adding a second. So if you are uncomfortable doing this mix, it's okay. Allow yourself a learning curve, always. So whenever you feel, I don't know if I can do that, that's okay, give it a shot. Unless you do, your skills are not going to reach to the next level. They'll plateau. And these are things that worry me as an educator, where I've worked with students and I'm worried when I see certain signs of a student possibly plateauing. But the brilliant effect of purple with the red is something that feels good to me, which is why I did it the way that I did it. I'm going to go ahead and color over the hair strands because those hair strands are so small that I would want to be able to get in around them, and then I would probably go back in afterwards. It's only this main fold that's very, very dominant in color. The rest of the fabric that goes strips to the back of her head is a little sheer. And because of that, I'm not going to try to and now the sheer part. I'll just go in with a light color, not a dark one, and I'll go all the way up to the hair mass because I need to be able to get in around those roots and everything and then bring it out. One section at a time. So as I'm working on this section, the first one is drying up. And that will give me a chance to go back that side again and work on that area. I've contoured her face. Now we're going to go in. This part is darker than that one. So I'm going to put in my dark tones, and then as I fill them in, again, I love the purple with the red. I like the combination, and so I'm going to stick with it. Now for this area, it's lighter. It's not as dark. So whenever you do art, and if you're doing something and you want to kind of attempt a project and there's no tutorial or anything, that's good because you're stepping out of your safety zone. I would love for you to push yourself to attempting something that you've always wanted to. And don't be afraid to redo it if you feel you're not satisfied with your results. It's always about, are we happy with what we did or are we not happy? It's not the right or wrong, it's the happiness factor that kicks in. And then we are going back in again, and this time I want to bring in a little bit of black. So I'm going to add in a little black over here, right at this point, and finish it off right there. Black again. I don't wash off my brush, in case if you paid attention to that. I let the colors run into each other, and that way I'm able to kind of really make them feel like they're complementary, sitting next to each other the way that they are. This part is going to be lighter, so I'm just going to use my water and just put the colors in. No extra pigment here, just the colors. And I'm not going, because I have a white space there, I'm not going to touch this one. I'm just going to leave it here at this point after I finish this section. Now, what I do need is, I need to check for any white areas that I failed to kind of touch on, because you can't be having those. You want to take your black one more time, and before you add it to her drape, you're going to add it to her crevices. And notice I'm going to go in closer to her face now, and I would like to get this area a little bit deeper in tone than the. So I'm going to just focus in on this part. I'm not going to try to move my brush to the top side right away. I just want to let this area get in deeper. Now wash it off, and I'll stroke upward to blend into the rest of her wrap. So I leave the bottom darker, but not the top. There's a lot of brightness on her face, so I don't need to cast any shadows per se. Notice that when I just stroked over her parting, and that was enough to kind of make it feel like she's got a parting there, and I didn't have to try to get rid of things there. I'm trying to give it a little wash effect on top of her face, just to give a little deeper color right here next to the hood. There you go. And that is what I was wanting to get in terms of colors and vibrancy and everything. The one thing that I would like to add on, I would take off any extra water here that did not get absorbed, and there we have a shadow. A little bit of, check your picture for any touch-ups that you think might be helpful for it. what you want to do is you want to add a little bit of a nostril right here. Nostril don't need to be a large, big black cavity. It just needs to be shown. That's it. And only the line very closest to the nose needs to be addressed, not all of it. And that would be our face for our basic drawing 2 students. If you feel that you would like to ask any questions on this, feel free to write them at the bottom. And I will get back to you at my earliest. Thank you for watching. But look out for our next video soon. Bye bye.